Hey athletes! In this video, we're going to explore our 2-foot jumps introduction with no arms. Now this exercise gives us our first real taste of plyometric training within a sport performance setting. So one of the important things to recognize, plyometrics is about how we absorb and reuse force. So we care a lot about fluidity and athleticism versus raw power this early on. We find that many athletes have actually never regressed these exercises enough to build on their technique, to build on their capacity, and overall consistency of motion. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate this exercise, then we'll break it down in multiple ways and ensure that you kind of see and know what you're looking to feel. So, set into position, as we said, no arms, so hands on the bicep. I'll perform 3 to 4 reps. Okay, so it's important to recognize right off the bat that our 2-foot jumps are a direct progression on our squat sequence. So we spend a lot of time teaching you what a squat looks like and feels like. What are some of the risks of the spine and the knees, and what are some of the things that we need to do to get performance, like hip extension and proper ankle positioning. That all applies in our jump sequence. It is the same sequence of variables. It's the same movement skills. So for someone who jumps and squats really differently, there is going to be a breakdown in performance. So keep that in mind. I'm going to perform another 3 or 4 repetitions, and I want you to almost watch, maybe with eyes glazed or just kind of trying to absorb the whole picture of, does this look like a squat position when I'm at my bottom? Hopefully, that is yes. So in this position, really what we're trying to accomplish is setting into our comfortable squat stance. Initially, we are descending into a quarter or half squat position. Notice hips are back, shins are roughly vertical, and I'm bracing my abs. From here, I am generating the force from my hips, from my glutes, essentially pushing through the ground to project my body into space. Now, early on, you might have to perform a 100% perfectly vertical action, but essentially you're landing on the exact same spot, and that's totally fine. As you start to feel a little more comfortable, you can add a little bit of travel, but still thinking the majority of the work going up and down. So, once again from there, descend to a squat, squeeze the hips, and land. And we're just looking to fluidly, rhythmically hit this position over and over and over again. And back through. So, one of the major challenges is that athletes on the whole are really accustomed to generating high degrees of force, to projecting themselves in space, and they haven't practiced how to land. So one of the major flaws is that an athlete can jump and then they hit really hard. They're not soft on that landing. They're not getting back into their squat position. So in order to practice this or regress this, we actually keep you on the ground. And so the regression that we would play with, at least early on, 1 or 2 sessions, or maybe a little bit longer as needed, is that we're just going to work on rhythmic squats. Just getting used to transitioning between that up and down phase. Once you can successfully complete that, we take it a step further. This time, heels off the ground. Once you can do that, add a 1 or 2 inch jump. Very, very small, but not sacrificing your landing skill. Once you can do that, now the sky's the limit. Now you can start to jump with more force, more height, and still not land heavy and with high impact. So this is the first video in this series. We're going to perform a second video that digs into a couple extra factors.